Okay, hi guys. So today I'm going to be talking about it's a summary, but it's not a summary for a book, it's a summary for someone's arc in a book, and it's Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, and yeah, it's it's Kaladin's arc. This is going to be a summary of all of Kaladin's arc, and will have heavy spoilers, so don't watch, because this is going to be a summary, and I want you to read Way of Kings for yourself. It's one of the best books I've ever read. It's best start to a series ever, and Kaladin is my favorite character in the series, so this is his arc in the Way of Kings, and it's gonna be long, because it's a 1,000-page book, and 1,000-page books are gonna have, I'm gonna have more to say about it, so this is gonna be a long, in-depth review, so please don't watch if you haven't read the books, or just watch my spoiler-free review. I went into spoilers in my review, but so this is not going to be for review. I don't know if I went to spoilers in my review. I hope I didn't. I don't think I did. But, and this is also not going to be a full summary. If you want to get a full summary of this book, I recommend Captured in Words videos. He will be in the link in the description. Captured in Words. He did a summary, which is amazing. And yeah, it's highly edited. I do minimal editing. So, basically, Kaladin starts out, we meet him, he's really cool, he's the leader of an army, or he's definitely high up there, he's definitely not low, he's very high up in his position, so he's very happy where he is at right now. And then, they were killing, these people, they were in the war, this is not going to be whole lore, so they're just in the war, and then they go see this guy, High Lord, not High Lord, but someone, who they're fighting, but he's very weak, and then him and his men say, hey, let's go kill him. So, and then they try to go kill him, they actually kill the guy. He's very weak, wasn't very a task. And then this man shows up in Shardplate, and then they're very hard to kill. So, they are about to get molecular, and then mostly all of his crew is demolished in that situation, and that's a very traumatic moment for him, so he's not too happy about that, and that's where we cut off. And next thing we know, he's a slave, and we don't know why he's a slave. It kind of comes out later in the book, but he's a slave, and he's marked a deserter. He kind of has a tattoo on his forehead that shows that he's a deserter. He deserted the army, but knowing Kaladin, what he did, he's not really the type to desert the army. So, he's not really that, that wasn't really the whole story. And also, he's very depressed. That's big part of it. He's very, very depressed in this. A lot of the time in this book, he's very emotional, and he gets depressed because he's a slave, and he clearly doesn't have what he used to have. He clearly has had a lot of distrust in him, and his, the leader, or, eventually he gets sold to, be a slave. He was a prisoner, and then he kind of was sold to be a slave. And the person, who is the leader is Sadius. Not a good guy. He's a villain. He's an antagonist in the story. And he's not really, good with Dalinar. He puts him he was a slave, and then he gets put as a bridge member, which, it's basically a death sentence. It kind of just, you're dead. And not only is he a bridge member, he's in the first row, which is where the Parshendi, aim their arrows at. And, obviously, if you don't know what a bridge thing is, they kind of carry the bridges, wood planks, and then they're meant to die. They're not meant to fight, they're meant to die. And so Kaladin's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go kill myself. That's basically what he thought. And then he meets Syl. Syl is he doesn't meet him, he's seen him many times before. But, she basically convinces him, hey, don't die. Well, it's not good. Because, obviously, she's, very spirited. She kind of, upbeats Kaladin in this story. She's kind of, brings him up. He would be dead many different times without Syl. So if you count how many times Syl keeps him from dying or killing himself, it's quite a lot. So basically he's like, okay, let's not die. Let's prove it that we are. Let's try to be better. Let's. He starts working out. He starts trying to convince his others to help work out. Like actually aim with the bridges, and let's be the best bridge out there. His bridge is called Bridge 4, and kind of like he's trying to be the best that he can be. And over time they do that slowly, and eventually he gains trust of his bridge. And while they didn't really care for him at first, they begin to really, really like and respect Kaladin throughout this. So basically after that, he's he tries to go into this battle, and he's slowly they were the best. They were obviously better than all the bridges, and they were obviously they were obviously gonna beat them. But there was only 10 or 12 or 10. I don't know exactly how many. But and then he goes in to fight them, and they were so good. They started aiming their arrows on other bridgemen who weren't as good, who were trying to copy what they were doing, and the real army. And that's not good, because more arrows would be focused on the army, and they were just not. And their success led to their downfall. And right here's where I'm going to stop and say Kaladin's backstory, and basically how he got to this point. So his dad's a surgeon. His dad wanted him to be a surgeon as well. He's like, okay, you're going to be a surgeon too. He's not in Shattered Plains, but way far away from this. And then he doesn't really want to be a surgeon. His dad kind of robbed someone, someone who died on the table, and then he robs them of their money after he accidentally died. The person died because they were sick. And then shortly after that, they were doing some drafting for the military, to get in the military, and his brother got drafted, and he immediately volunteers so his brother so he can watch his brother's back, basically. And his parents are devastated, and they obviously don't like that both of their sons are missing, and it's not very good time for him. So basically once he gets to the army, his brother dies. His name was, what's his name? I forget his brother's name. His brother was, I want to say Lift, but I know it's not Lift. I'm not sure. Tien. It's Tien. Was his name. So he dies, and Kaladin was a coward, or in this situation, he was scared to go back to his parents, admitting that his brother died. So he re-enlists for the military after his time was paid in the military. And after that, he just becomes really good. He's known as Kaladin Stormblessed, and he becomes amazing at what he does. And eventually, what happens at the very start of the book kind of happens. He sees this a person who's about to die, and he goes, okay, let's kill him. And there's a sharp bear. He kills every person in his group except for 4 people. And then Kaladin, basically, they have sharp plates, so it's impossible to break. So he gets between his eyes, or he hits it where the shard blade is covering. He gets his spear, and basically killing the shard bearer. So technically, that means he owns shard plate, and once he puts it on, he'll become a light eyes, which is a caste system. He's a dark eyes, and he doesn't want it. He hates light eyes for he basically just doesn't trust them whatsoever, and he and after that, he kind of he doesn't take it, and then Amaram, this his leader of his squad, not squad, just the army, he's basically in charge of him. He goes, why didn't you take it? That's basically what happened. He goes why didn't you take it? It would have been you could have been so much better. You could have been such a great fighter, because he was a great fighter already. You could have been so much better with shard blade and shard plate. And he goes, no, I don't want to become a light eye. And Amaram kills the other 4 people who witnessed Kaladin killing him. Kaladin killing the shard bearer. And then he doesn't want to kill Kaladin because he saved his life on multiple accounts, and it was his legally. So he kind of bans him as slave. He puts the slave mark on his forehead, and he spreads rumors that he's a deserter, and that's where he got to be a slave. And then we basically learn that in little chunks throughout the book, and you can see how his distrust for light eyes, because Amaram was one of the only light eyes that he trusted, and then basically he like deserted him, and that's why he's at this position. So basically, after that, he kind of like after now back in current times, he was very like ridiculed for his decision because he killed many people on this on the battlefield, and so he's sent out to basically die. It's from it left him out like in chains by a high storm, which is it's up to Faith. Like that's like if you like or so like faithful, you'll survive or something like that. But they kind of a death sentence. So his crew says goodbye to him. It's really heartfelt, and so he gets basically left out in a high storm, and obviously not great thing to happen to you. So over time, like they find he's alive but barely, and then he kind of like just gets up, and whenever he's well, which took a while, he finds that his crew is still working out, still trying to be the best, and which is crazy because it shows that even when he wasn't there, the crew still trusts him and respects him so much in this situation. So you can tell that he got a boost of energy from that. And after this, they get something called chasm duty, which is basically looting the dead bodies for materials for the army. This is where Kaladin sees the spear again. He starts working with the spear, and like he shows like definitely like he's like that they're gonna still try to be the best, and they can try to get out. They're gonna try to do a bunch of stuff like that, and now they're like gonna fight with Sadius's army, who's still a bad guy, and this is where some plot lines converge. But I'm just gonna mention the plot line. I'm not gonna mention what happened with Dalinar in this story, but basically Dalinar is he went to fight. They're kind of combining forces with Sadius and Dalinar's forces. And Sadius in the fight, Sadius basically retreats and closes the bridges, to get out. So they're basically stuck with a huge Parshendi army. Sadius, the person he was fighting with, retreats and closes the bridges, so he's stuck in there. And Kaladin, when he's retreating with Sadius, because he's part of Sadius' army, he says, this is not right, this is you can't leave him to die. And him and his Bridge 4 fights, and Kaladin basically fights an army on one in him. Like the rest of his army, the rest of Bridge 4 is doing great. He basically, with 20 people, he basically gets all of them to fight and beat the army, and along with Dalinar. And Kaladin's the only reason Dalinar survives in that point, and he's so grateful. And Sadius was planning to kill Bridge 4 because of their betrayal. They betrayed him and then fought with Dalinar. But Dalinar didn't know this, but he also offered to buy Bridge 4 from him. He offered to buy Bridge 4 from Sadius, and Sadius is like, no, because I want to kill them because they betrayed Sadius technically, and Dalinar's always mad at Sadius, but that's a part of Dalinar's story. I'm not going to really mention that, and then so Dalinar offers a bunch of more offers, and he didn't know because he really hates what Bridge 4 did, and then he offers his shard blade. And now Sadius had shard plate. He did not have a shard blade, and he wanted that. So he goes, okay, you can have Bridge 4. I don't know, you're making a stupid decision. And I was very confused when I read this part, because shard, that's a big thing. And I think his name is Oathbringer. Yeah, it is named Oathbringer. And then I was like, that's a big point, because Sadius is a villain, and Dalinar gave it. This isn't part of Dalinar's arc, so I'll talk about that maybe later. But it was very shocking, and Kaladin was also very shocked. And he also admits that was a dumb decision. Their life was technically worthless, and Kaladin, whenever he was fighting, he did show starts of storm, he was storm blessed, and he was moving faster than light, and he's obviously not doing something natural, and he starts talking to Dalinar, and he's like, okay, why did you do this? And Dalinar says, you saved my life, and you saved thousands of other lives who fought with me, and I owe you $1 million. He owes you so much, many more if he could. shard plates and and shard blades. So he's like forever in debt to Bridge 4. And so basically Kaladin was shocked. He was like, okay. And he also offered them freedom. Or they could be Kaladin's personal guards. Like Bridge 4, and then Kaladin would be at the head of guards. So basically Kaladin goes from slave and bridge men, who's basically gonna die, to like head of security for Dalinar, a very, very powerful High Lord. And he goes through from that in one day. And he's very shocked. He's like, yeah, like he would, obviously, like a great position. So he goes back to Bridge 4. And he's like, he says basically to them, you can have your freedom, no one's gonna make you be security. Or you could come with us. Like you can like do what you do, like with like you can like be a security guard, like head or security basically for Dalinar, and that's a big position. It's nothing like tiny. So they all like, okay, yeah. I think almost all of them, they all agree. So they're all about 20 men are with Dalinar security, and we know they're in great hands because they're one of the most powerful. And I think that's basically where we left off. He's very, basically in conclusion, Kaladin is a very, very damaged and mentally ill character. But like Syl kind of helps him up. I didn't mention her a lot in the video because it's not a Syl video, but I do mention that Syl is really, really big impact on Kaladin. So like she's an important character in this book, and Kaladin is just like, I think he's my favorite character in the Stormlight Archive because he's just like, he's so complex, and I don't think we do enough, or there's enough mentally ill characters in novels like this, because like it shows a lot, and he also has more than enough justification for this, and it's pretty awesome to see where he is in this point, and I just think it's awesome for him. Again, this is only Way of Kings. His story continues in Words of Radiance. I don't know, I might do Kaladin's arc in Words of Radiance. I think I might want to do Shallan's arc in Way of Kings, Dalinar's arc in Way of Kings, Adolin's arc in Way of Kings, and then Kaladin's arc in Words of Radiance. Obviously, this is going to be a very slow process, very slow. But that was just Way of Kings, so I know it's a lot happened for one, and this was only Dalinar, so again, this is not all of Way of Kings. But this was a big book, and I think Kaladin was my favorite part of this book. And again, I dumped all of his backstory into one chunk of this, but he kind of drops little bits. Brandon Sanderson kind of drops little bits of the backstory, like a little like pinch of salt, and like the backstory. And he does it amazing because he says he doesn't just like put in a backstory. He goes like 14 years later, like 6 years ago. Like you see, it says 6 years ago. That's how he puts his backstories in. And yeah, Kaladin is an amazing character in this book, and I don't know what to say. He's awesome, and I'm not gonna say you should read Way of Kings, because I would be highly disappointed if you watch this without reading the book. I'm sorry, highly disappointed. But still, this is an amazing, amazing book, and yeah, you can just see him, and you do need to reread this because you're watching a summary. But yes, I love not Dalinar. I do love Dalinar, but I love Kaladin in this book. He's massively awesome, and I don't know. I think he's my favorite. He's my favorite out of a lot of them. But so I think it's him and Adolin. I mentioned these in my reviews for all these books, but yeah. Again, I'm sorry. I just feel like talking about the Cosmere because I'm reading Elantris and Warbreaker currently. I'm like, I need to talk about Way of Kings more because I haven't made it since my original review, which is pretty bad camera quality. Yeah, just like, I don't know. But yeah, so I think, yeah, this is his arc 10 out of 10 because Way of Kings is one of my favorite books of all time, and he's the biggest character in my favorite book of all time. Not my favorite book, my favorite book of all time, but one of my favorite books of all time. And yeah, I would definitely read this again. I do need to reread this, and yeah, so I don't want to keep you too long, which you've already stayed too long if you're here, but see ya in the next video, which I don't know yet. I don't know what's coming up, but see ya.